Guys, check this out. I'm actually getting approached by a squirrel when I'm starting this video. Today I want to talk about a very sensitive topic about Ukrainians getting stuck in Canada. Stuck between the systems, between the governments, between the peoples and people who were, basically it's a really bad situation that nobody is talking about. And I started a channel right now where I speak in Russian to support Ukrainians. A lot more Ukrainians started reaching out to me. As somebody who was born in Ukraine and now is Canadian citizen, I want to bring up some information to you guys that nobody is talking about and how bad it is. You're not going to believe what is actually happening, and these people are in a really bad situation. I want to tell you guys, let's put the politics aside, strip away all the things, forget about Ukraine as a country, forget about Canada as a country, and just look at it from the people's perspective. I want to bring something really deep, and that's been bothering me a lot lately, and honestly it's been bothering me in a less condition than those people who actually only have Ukrainian citizenship. But let me explain to you the entire depth of the situation so you have a little bit of a better understanding what's actually going on. A lot of people go into politics, they're like, oh, we need to support Ukraine, or we need to, not support Ukraine, or we need to deport Ukrainians, or something like that. People come up with these all ridiculous political agendas, but let me tell you what actually is happening. So I'll tell you from my story, and then we'll go deeper into the stories that people tell me who are from Ukraine, from my own community. I'm Ukrainian. Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, I was born in Ukraine, but I came here 12 years ago. But it still has impacted even myself a lot. Let me tell you guys the reality of this entire situation with the war in Ukraine and why it bothers me. I hope it doesn't come to Canada like that. I mean, with the United States and everything, because it's pretty bad. I'll tell you this, guys. Last February, not this February, a year ago, my dad passed away in Ukraine. So I was supposed to get my share of inheritance, right? But hear me out, because I fall under the legislation of Ukrainians who are between the age of 25 and 60, for me to put my claims for inheritance, I have to go to Ukrainian embassy in Edmonton and put my claim there for the inheritance for my dad, okay? So, but I cannot do that because if I go there, I have to register for the draft in order for me to potentially be drafted to an army in Ukraine, which is a stupid idea for me being Canadian. It's a stupid idea. But hear me out. You would say, hey, you're not allowed to have dual citizenship in Ukraine, right? Well, yes, you're correct. You're not allowed to have dual citizenship in Ukraine. But there is no legislation actually not allowing you, there is no punishment for that. So constitutionally, you're not supposed to have it, but you cannot also cancel it. Because hear me out, they don't cancel Ukrainian citizenships right now because the president's office have to sign it for you to renounce your Ukrainian citizenship. So you have to pay a ton of money, go through the entire bureaucracy to get rid of your Ukrainian citizenship, and then the president has to sign. And since the war started in Ukraine, he hasn't signed a single application from what I've been told. Now, another thing, inheritance with my dad. So it's stupid, okay? Wanted to go to his funeral, but I cannot go to his funeral to Ukraine because of the war zone situation and because Ukraine, a loophole of legislation that not allowing you, first of all, having dual citizenship. So they would recognize only Ukrainian citizenship if I was to go to Ukraine. They wouldn't treat me as Canadian. They would treat me only as Ukrainian because of that legal loophole. So if I was to go to my father's funeral, I cannot go for my father's funeral because they won't let me out. Because for the man of the age of 25 to 60, you're supposed to stay there. You're not allowed to leave Ukraine. So first of all, I cannot go to my own dad's funeral. Last year I couldn't go there because of that. And the second thing is, my brother had to claim all the inheritance for himself because I can't put my claim because I have to go to Ukrainian embassy and register there. And you would say, why don't you go to register there? Like, they cannot draft you from Canada, right? Hear me out. They put a new legislation in Ukraine where they would basically put fines on your real estate, an escalating fine that goes up. So even the real estate that I own in Ukraine, I actually own real estate in Ukraine. I have a right for a couple of properties in Ukraine that I own actually, but I cannot do anything about it because, well, they'll put escalating fines on my properties. And if they call me to join the army or something like that and I don't show up, they'll basically put an insane amount of fines that would accumulate over the years, that it would be worth more than my real estate eventually, and the government would take away. You know how disappointing it is, like for myself, but then I'll tell you more about Ukrainians who are in Canada. It's worth it for them, because at least I'm Canadian. But those guys who are just Ukrainians, it's just kind of disappointing. So if you're a man, if you were unfortunate to be born a man in Ukraine right now, you're a disposable, dispensable unit that would be thrown as a cannon fodder towards the front lines to fight with Russians. You know, you have no rights. You have no rights. You think you own property rights? You don't have property rights. You are like you are basically a cannon fodder for a political agenda, to stand up for your nation, to stand up for your country, to stand up for common good, but no good for you. So in that way, that's kind of thing. If you're a young man in the age of 25, you have to go to war. If you're an old man, up to 60 years of age, they would still make you go to war. Up to 60 years of age in Ukraine right now. It's insane, guys. There's a giant German shepherd looking at me from a patio. But anyways, guys, it's freaking pathetic situation, and I want to say that it's sad what is happening. Guys, I hope the German shepherd doesn't jump over the fence and bite my ass. And there is no other sidewalk to walk on. Anyways, we're going this way. I want to say, guys, it's pretty sad, entire sad situation with being, what's this giant dog looking at me, guys? Not feeling very comfortable with that. But anyways, it's pretty bad situation in Ukraine right now, guys, that you cannot do anything about it. If you are a man, if you were born a man in Ukraine, you have to go to war. So I cannot go to my dad's funerals because they would send me to war. I cannot claim my inheritance because they would put fine on the real estate that I own, and I would own nothing at all. And that's my situation. Now I'll tell you a little bit more. I talked to Ukrainians who are, here in Canada. I'll tell you their stories too. For example, they have a worse situation than mine. Ukrainian government has put it in such a way that you are declined consular services. You cannot renew your passport. You can't renew your documents if you're a man between the age of 25 to 60. You cannot do anything because, besides going back to Ukraine. But you need those documents to get your Canadian paperwork, to get your immigration done in Canada, which is pretty sad. Okay, for me it's easier because I already have I'm Canadian citizen, so for me it's easier. Now, people don't speak about it on the English channels because a lot of Ukrainians don't speak good English or not good enough to make a video about it. And I'll tell you, there is another people who are stuck between the systems. There are also occupied territories. I've seen people who are Ukrainians. Guys, a lot of Ukrainians even abandon speaking Russian. I speak on my channel, I speak in Russian language because I was raised and I grew up speaking Russian language in Ukraine. But a lot of people, just out of protest, Ukrainians, they speak Ukrainian only. They know Russian, they don't want to speak Russian because of this animosity and stuff situation going on. But even they in Canada are really disappointed with the state of Ukraine. Some people who are coming to Ukraine to occupy territory from Canada. I know a guy who went from Canada, flew through Belarus, Russia, was detained there and questioned, interrogated by basically KGB agents, you can say, who are working for the government of Russia to make sure that they are, in good faith and not against the regime, And then they had to take a train to Ukraine, to the occupied territory, take Russian citizenship. Otherwise, their real estate is going to be taken away. So people have to fly from Canada, go to Russia, go to occupied territory, get Russian citizenship to claim their real estate that they own, or they used to own in Ukrainian territory before the Russian government takes it away completely, get a Russian citizenship on arrival, essentially, we spend there a few weeks, sell the real estate, and come back to Canada. Because people got stuck for their property rights between the territory and between two states, between the two governments. And it's really, guys, pathetic if you think about it in that way, that you have to do that. Now, there are people in Canada that are Ukrainian refugees, and I'll just tell you guys, they're really terrified. First of all, with the, they're terrified of the government that honestly treats them as cannon fodder. Like, okay, you're a man, yeah, you're a good unit. You can get a machine gun and go, kill some Russians for the better of the nation, so to speak. So that's kind of disappointing situation, guys. And I know there is a lot of keyboard warriors here who are going to be like retard on the Ram truck there behind me. The small winner retard. Anyways, a lot of people on the keyboard would be like that too. So they'll be like, oh, you have to go protect your country. Sitting there typing with their fat asses, trying to say something like that. I want to see them do that, besides writing comments and stuff like that. Have some balls to actually do what they're saying. Because a lot of people have the balls only to type negative comments and shit on there, trying to portray something. But, they don't stand for nothing besides their keyboard warrior comments, guys. By the way, guys, I have a beautiful Canadian flag behind me over here. I wanted to tell you guys something different from that. And, right now in Canada, we have a kind of a weird situation too. Especially see, there is a house over there with the American flag hanging over there. So we have that situation here in Canada, which might actually, bring us into a situation similar to what is going on in Ukraine. What if, US tried to annex Canada? What if we are drafted to war? Would we become disposable units like that too? Because the government have been treating man, especially man population through history, as, as disposable units, honestly, just to send them to war, essentially. And a lot of Ukrainians are stuck between the governments. Those guys who are in Canada right now from Ukraine, they're even afraid more because, they don't know what's going to be like. I was talking to Ukrainians, they're terrified of the immigration programs continuously changing, the legislation being changing. Uncertainty, well, at least the Canadian government has extended the Ukrainian work visa for another 3 years, which is good from this spring. But a lot of people are like, they don't know. They don't know, guys, whether, what's going to happen. Are they going to be sent back? What their life is going to be like? Can they stay in Canada? They have real estate in Ukraine, all of their belongings, all of their stuff. The most expensive possessions are real estate, like the houses behind my back over here. And they don't know they own anything because the government can take it away. Now, that's kind of a sad situation that so many people are stuck between the governments, a lot of people who are watching this, Ukraine, Russia thing on TV have no clue what is actually happening over there. They have no clue what is actually going on and, how it impacts other people's life. So if you look at those Ukrainians who are in Canada right now, especially who don't have any status, their documents might expire, they cannot go to Ukrainian embassy, the real estate might be taken away. They don't know they can stay in Canada. They don't know how the situation is going to turn out there. And right now, on top of that, they are looking at the situation in the United States where, they are feeling betrayed by the American government who has been giving money. And now everyone is looking at natural resources of Ukraine and scavengers sitting there like, okay, well, you know what? So much of hundreds of thousands of people died, maybe 1 million. You know what? Let's split the country. Let's split its resources. Let's go for the money. Who gives a damn about this entire situation? And for them, it's even worse. They're looking at what Trump is saying, looking at what other governments are doing. It's pretty bad for that Ukrainian community here in Canada. And I interact with Ukrainian community on a daily basis. They speak to me in Ukrainian. I speak to them in Russian. I 100% understand Ukrainian. I'm just not used to speaking in Ukrainian. I speak Ukrainian, but not as great. They told me you should do videos in Ukrainian on your Russian YouTube channel, and I'm like, it's going to be difficult. It's easier for me to make videos, in English than in Ukrainian at this point. But anyways, I want to tell you guys that's what I wanted to bring up. So it's a little bit shitty situation. And now looking at this entire Canada-US situation, people don't realize that if something like this were to happen, and if people were to get drafted to an army or something like that, it's a it's pretty bad, guys. It's pretty bad because it's just like you own something, you have certain rights, you have certain benefits, but when the war starts like that, you got no rights, you don't have benefits. They'll put a Ukrainian flag over your grave and say you served the country well. That's all about it. But all of these things are basically politician games, dirty politician games, and business money from weapons manufacturers, and it's pretty pathetic in that situation. And all the other things are going on. People's opinion are emphasized by media, by politics, by governments, which a lot of times control the media. So, yeah, all fake, all nonsense. But this is what's actually happened. You're talking to Ukrainians, you talk about this, and they speak in Ukrainian, and they are supporting Ukrainian culture, but a lot of them don't like the Ukrainian government or what they did. They don't want to be even connected to it. They don't want to even be resembling, like with the name of being Ukrainian in that way. They want to be Ukrainians, but they want to do nothing with Ukraine as a country that has betrayed them with the entire situation going on there. I'm just saying, guys, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. The most important part that this doesn't happen. Where is the dog at? Oh, the big one. It's a big dog. I hope you don't speak Russian. Anyways, guys, I just said, holy shit, that's a big dog. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. I hope this opens up a little bit more information about Ukrainians here in Canada. I've talked to people and they are like, we don't know what's going to happen. If they're going to shut down immigration, if what's going to get left of the country, what is left of what they own in that country, and they cannot go back because they don't have any rights in that country. So if you're a man between the age of 24, I'll tell you another situation. I was just talking yesterday to a Ukrainian family where I had a similar situation with the dad dying. The dad fled to Poland when the war started. The two brothers were at war, fighting for 1.5 years in Ukraine until they got disabilities, injuries, war injuries, luckily survived. But while they were fighting the war, their dad passed away in Poland. But the government of Ukraine wouldn't let them go out of Ukraine for a funeral to see their dad that passed away in Poland. And now they are out. One of them is in Belgium, the other one is in Poland. And, they've been dismissed from the army because of the injuries and disabilities that they gained protecting their country. None of them want to go back. That's the reality, guys. Anyways, I know it's a really negative video, but talking to Ukrainians, I took in a lot of negativity, and I wanted to bring this up to you guys. So you have a little bit more of clearer picture. Some people cannot leave, other people cannot enter, and that's the situation that's happening on Ukraine. Forget about the freaking politics. Forget about what money part. The money from your taxes that you would never ever have in your pocket anyways, you won't even see them. The money that industrial military complex has spent on it, the political agendas that you've been brainwashed with. Just think about the people that are in situation. Just think about it. If you were in such situation, how would you act? Without political agendas, without what Trump says, without what Pierre Poilievre or Justin Trudeau says, just from political aspect, where you're stuck between the systems in a war situation. Let's say, just visualize, like for example in Canada, you own real estate. What would you do if something like that were to happen in Canada? It's all good to write comments, but really, if you deal with people who are stuck in this kind of situation, it's really heartbreaking. And guys, you know what? I own real estate in Ukraine. But I'll tell you, I don't give a damn about my real estate in Ukraine. I'm okay. I lost my inheritance. I'm okay. I lost my real estate too, because, well, maybe I'll get it. We'll see what's going to happen after the war ends. Maybe I'll still have some rights to get it back. But it's just pathetic. Like, you think you own something, and then the government just, the situation turns around, you own nothing. That's it. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Want to read your comments, guys, about it.